Right, so let's wrap up the weekend, shall we? I'll get into more of the matchups as we get later on in the week. Maybe I'll do it on Tuesday because I have the NHL starting on Wednesday. So maybe I'll do that on Tuesday before things get kind of crazy for me. So we've got the matchup set for next week, and I'm honestly kind of excited about this. So we've got Green Bay against the Rams, right? The Rams, they beat Seattle in Seattle 30-20. It ended a 10-game winning streak at home for the Seattle Seahawks. I didn't see that coming. The thing that was interesting too was it kind of felt like it wasn't Seattle's defense that let them down, it was the offense. So that was unusual that the Rams defense played so well against them. But now the Rams move on to play Green Bay. I'm happy about that because the Rams and the Packers are both teams that I've cheered for at times. I like both teams. And Goff's a good story. You know, the guy comes in and he's clearly not 100%, but he comes in and he plays, and now he's going to be headed to Lambeau Field against Rodgers. I do think Green Bay knocks out the Rams, but the Rams have shown that they're not going to be an easy out. So while it would have been nice to see Seattle win that, good with that. Actually, the NFC's worked out pretty well. We're going to have New Orleans against Tampa. So New Orleans wins 21-9 against Chicago, and really Chicago's offense, which had been great, right, for about a month's worth of games, and then it's gone. And full credit to New Orleans and their defensive game, and Drew Brees had a pretty good game as well. So, for New Orleans, the 21-9 win means they'll be at home against Tampa. Tampa did beat Washington. Washington game in that, but it was a 31-23 win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Really looking forward to that. I could see an upset here. I could see Tampa going in and taking out New Orleans. Absolutely. Because it's Tom Brady. And it's Tom Brady, it's playoffs, and don't count out Tom Brady in the playoffs. And then I could see a Battle of the Bays for the NFC Championship game, which would be amazing as well. So, yeah, the NFC picture cleared up. Kansas City coming off the bye week because they were the number one seed. They are going to get Cleveland. Cleveland beats Pittsburgh. Now this is the game that just finished. Cleveland ends up winning that one 48-37, and I thought prevent defense made this more interesting than it should have been. I've talked before about prevent defense. I don't get it. So you go to, okay, we're ahead by X amount of points, and we've got this much time left, so we're going to back off and give them 5-10 yards on a play. Why? Because the thing is that if they're passing the ball and if they're smart about it and if they're running out of bounds, you give them 5 yards on every play or 6 yards or even 4 on every play, they can get a score and they won't take much time off the clock to do it. So yeah, they end up holding on and winning it. The interesting thing was it was 28-0 in the first quarter in favor of the Browns. It was 35-10 at the half. So Pittsburgh makes it interesting. If you're Ben Roethlisberger, is this his last year? Ben, of course, had trouble with the long ball during the year, and yet he ends up with 47 completions, had over 500 yards at the end of the day, but he had 4 interceptions, and that's what kills it, right? And then there's the turnover on the first play of the game that ends up being a touchdown. Just that botched first quarter. If not for that, they probably beat Cleveland. That's the first loss to the Browns at home for Roethlisberger in his career. So that's regular season and playoffs. And I'm looking back through their playoff history. I can't see that the Browns, I looked up the playoff history, they never beat the Steelers in the playoffs, had they? So, 1994 was their last playoff win. That was a 20-13 win over New England. The Browns have been a good team. They have. I remember Bernie Kosar. I remember the Browns. And I remember them just not quite being good enough to get it done. Maybe this is the team that can get it done, but they're going to have to be better than this against Kansas City. If they can't hold a 4-touchdown lead against Pittsburgh, and there are certain points during this game where it look like they might end up blowing it, they have to be a lot better defensively against KC, and they have to be able to maintain that level of intensity they showed early against Pittsburgh. I still think that Juju posting that or saying, well, it's the same team we've beaten before. It's the same Browns team. It's not a big deal. Just the way that he gives teams like bulletin board notes. He gives the team inspiration, whether he's dancing on a logo or he's putting a team down. It still inspires the team to say, screw this guy, let's go out there and shut him up. And you can see that when he makes a play and he makes a catch. And teams, maybe they push him a little bit harder than they do another receiver. Maybe they tackle him a little bit harder. I've seen that the last few games I've watched for the Steelers. So for Pittsburgh, with this loss against Cleveland, there's going to be a lot of questions asked. This was a team that was 11-0. They looked like they could end up almost undefeated on the season, and then it just fell apart. And this game against Cleveland, something has to change. And there's certainly enough guys that are free agents that things could change a lot in Pittsburgh. Now, the last game on the board here is the Buffalo Bills at home against Baltimore. This could be really, really interesting. These are the teams that beat, well, the teams that were fighting for the lead in their division, Indianapolis and Tennessee. And Indianapolis and Tennessee did in the playoffs what I had kind of thought they might. Indianapolis loses 27-24. Tennessee loses 20-13. They battled for that division, but neither of them looked like great going to the playoffs, right? Like when I was doing the power rankings, they were always, one of them might be in the top row, but they never really hit that top five with any kind of certainty, whereas Baltimore had early in the season, and Buffalo, yeah, I mean, they survive. It's a 27-24 win. It's not this huge win, but any win for Buffalo in the playoffs is a huge win. That's their first win in a long time. And now they're going to play Baltimore, which I think they're going to be happy with. This should be a really good matchup between these two teams. And I'm anticipating pretty strong matchups next week. So, yeah. I don't really have anything else other than kudos to Cleveland. I don't have a Buffalo Bills jersey, so I'm wearing the tank that I have from Bench Clearers for the Buffalo Sabres. It's Buffalo, and I don't have a Bills hat, so I thought I'll wear my Letterkenny hat. Why not? But yeah, those were some fun games, and Cleveland, that game ended up being a lot more interesting than it should have been. They should have had Pittsburgh finished off, and it kind of felt like it's one of those things where you go, did they remember they're the Browns? There are certain franchises that you have that feeling with. On the hockey front, every now and then you'll see the Canucks where you go, did they remember they were the Canucks? Because they had a lead, and then all of a sudden it's gone. What happened there? And you kind of get that feeling with the Browns. So hopefully they can push Kansas City. I don't know that I can see them beating Kansas City. If you want picks for next week, I would say the 4 home teams have a really good chance. If you look traditionally, the 4 home teams, especially considering there's 2 that have a bye, they normally will win those matchups. This year might be completely different, though. One thing that I will say for football right now is even when they have limited attendance compared to no attendance, you can hear everything a quarterback's saying. I've heard quarterbacks saying really weird things before the snap where I'm like, wait, what did he say? And it's like I half wait for them to like start yelling out Mario Brothers characters and maybe pick Ninja Turtles. Like it's bizarre, but it's fun at the same time. You can hear the play calling, and I do wonder. So does that favor the defense? You would think that it does, and yet scoring I don't think has been down around the league. Does it balance out because the offense can hear what the defense is yelling as well? It's interesting. So anyways, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Maybe even throw in who you think's going to win next weekend, but I'm going to do a preview as well where we get into it. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.